What's going on, everyone? I'm just a typical, average American here today to react to 10 graphs that prove Canada is better than the United States? What? Better than us? Better than America? What is this? Who made this? What? Nobody is better than America. Well, okay, joking aside, I do honestly think that that is the mentality that a lot of us Americans do have. That America is the greatest and better than every other country, and there's nothing at all that we could possibly learn or do better, which is, of course, absolutely ridiculous. So today, I really want to take a look at these 10 different graphs that all illustrate different things that Canada does better than the United States. So let's take a look at these, starting with number one: we live longer. And by we, I assume this means Canadians. Canadians live longer. Is that true? Life expectancy is 81.7 years versus Americans who are only 78.4. We haven't even broken into the 80s with life expectancy. I'm actually pretty shocked by that. I thought we were doing better than that. Wow, and this is a really important one because it's your life. What's more important than being alive? That's a pretty big one. And Canadians, that is huge the more I think about it. Canadians literally have more life than Americans on average. Why is this, does it say? Oh, it says life expectancy captures overall health conditions, chronic diseases, injuries, access to care, social determinants. Canada's 3.3-year edge reflects also lower violent deaths and broader primary care access. Interesting. So Canadians have a lot of stuff going for you that lead to this data that Canadians live over 3 years longer than Americans on average. That's really substantial. Wow. Okay, number two, far fewer homicides. I'm not shocked by this one, that this is something that Canada does better. I think even a lot of Americans would have assumed this. This is not even just overall. Of course, America has more homicides and murders because we have a bigger population, but this is per 100,000 people. So this is like a per capita thing. It doesn't even matter how big your population is. For every 100,000 people, Canada has 1.9 homicides, and America has like 3 or 4 times as much. 6.8. 6.8 murders per 100,000 people versus Canada's 1.9? What's up with that? That is really bad. Canada's homicide rate is roughly 1/3 the United States. The difference is driven by firearms, urban violent crime rates, and social safety nets. Oh boy. Yeah, this is pretty important stuff that Canada is doing better than the United States. And like I said, it's really sad that it feels like Americans are really bad at looking at what other countries are doing, like Canada, and like trying to improve ourselves by looking at other countries because we're literally dying sooner and we are killing each other more. And Canada is obviously doing things better to have much better outcomes with this stuff. Wow. Okay, number three graph universal health coverage. In Canada, the share of people with health insurance, 100%. Do you guys call it health insurance though? Because in Canada, it's just like, isn't it just health coverage? You have universal government provided health coverage. Maybe you do call it health insurance. I don't know. But I associate health insurance with like a private corporation that you have to pay monthly payments to, like car insurance or home insurance. It's the same thing. In America, we do healthcare insurance where we pay healthcare companies every month uh, on the off chance that we have to go to the hospital. And so, really, what we're talking about is health coverage in general. Canadians, 100% of Canadians have it. For Americans, 92% have it, which sounds like a lot, but it's actually really terrifying that 8% of Americans don't have healthcare insurance. That's 1 out of 10 almost. I can't even explain how bad it is. If you don't have health coverage in America, your entire life can be ruined not by getting hurt or getting ill, but by seeking medical care due to some kind of health complication. Breaking your arm, needing an ambulance, that could cost you thousands of dollars. Most people don't have thousands of dollars like emergency fund, especially in the United States. I've seen stats on that, like half of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck or something. So this is really scary. And the whole universal health coverage thing is shockingly something that Americans, we never talk about changing this. We never, politicians, governments, even in day to day life, we really never talk about changing our system of healthcare and healthcare insurance. Um, it's really weird the more I think about it and really sad. Absolutely something Canada does better. Yeah, yeah. All right, number four, paid parental leave is real. Okay, in Canada, paid parental leave. So this is nationally guaranteed paid leave after birth. What is this a measurement of? 69? 69 what? Oh, wow. It says here Canada has 15 weeks paid maternity. Is that true? I think it's even more than that. Canada offers lengthy paid parental benefits that parents can share. Parents can share. Whoa. So basically, what this is saying, I don't know what 69, what a number. 69, what does that mean? Like the percentage of Canadians that are guaranteed paid leave? Or is this like 69 weeks of leave? You know what I mean? I'm not sure what the value here means. Anyway, Canada has a whole bunch of paid parental leave. Um, for having children is what we're talking about. If you're having a baby, I almost want to say Canadians, don't you get like months and months and months? Like, couldn't it be 9 months or something crazy like that? Here in America, the value is zero. And that I understand because what that is saying is parental leave is not guaranteed at all in the United States. That is completely up to the corporation, the wherever you work. It's completely at their discretion. There is no government mandate in America to give you the right to paid maternity leave. In the United States, most businesses, most employers will give women 3 months of leave if you're lucky. That's considered very, very good. And if the father wants to take leave, they have to use their vacation days or their sick days or seriously. So this is such a huge discrepancy between Canada and the United States, and I think a lot of Americans really have no idea how different this is. For a lot of Americans, if they knew that countries like Canada gave like 9 months of maternity leave, like Americans would we lose our mind. This blows my mind. Yeah. I didn't. It's just something that Americans have kind of just accepted as normal, kind of like our healthcare system and our maternity leaves and our lack of vacation days. Like it's just something we've kind of accepted and don't realize other countries do it much better, like how Canada does it. Let's keep going. Fewer babies die. That's a very blunt way of saying that, but that's an important one. Fewer babies die in Canada, like die of infant mortality, like death at birth. Oh my God. This is out of 1,000 births. 4.4 Canadian babies can die out of 1,000. And in America, it's 5.6. This is not super different, but it's substantial. That's like a 15% difference in infant mortality, which is pretty substantial. Infant mortality is sensitive to prenatal care, maternal health, early life support. Canada has a lower rate of infant death. I wonder what Canada is doing better. I wouldn't be surprised if it just boils down to like Canadians having more access to health care when they need it. Or Canada's healthcare services are just better, or are you guys better at giving birth? I don't know. Fewer babies die in Canada. That's pretty darn important. Stronger passport. Canada has a stronger passport? Interesting. So the graph shows the Canada passport has a score on the Henley index of 184 and the American passport 182. This is really close. I thought the American passport was pretty strong. Canada, I'm not, now that I think about it, I'm not shocked Canada's passport is stronger. Canadians are just so respected and loved throughout the world. So, what does this mean exactly when you have a strong passport? The Canadian passport allows visa free or visa on arrival access to more destinations than the United States. So Canadians can travel to more places in the world and you don't need a visa or you can have access to travel visas or stuff like that much easier than Americans, depending on the country. I've never really thought about this, but that's pretty cool. Canadians have it. This is I don't think I'm trying to think, can you even change this? How do you change this? Who decides like the strength of a country's passport? I think that's like a really good measurement of just what the world what the world thinks of you as a country. And Canada scores higher than America. Shocker. Number 7, Canada has cleaner electricity. Cleaner electricity, scoring an 84 versus America's 40. I'm not sure what this is a measurement of, but from the graph, you can just say Canada is twice as good as America at having clean energy sources. Hydropower and nuclear power give Canada, a big edge. The US is improving on this, but we still lean on more fossil generation. Canada, you guys are big into the hydroelectric power. That's why, don't you guys even call it hydro? You don't even call it electricity, you call it hydro, right? I think that's a thing. And nuclear. I've heard a lot of people say we need to lean into nuclear renewable energy. Like, that word is very scary for a lot of people for good reason. But apparently, we're really missing out on the nuclear energy or whatever. So, Canada must be substantially doing better than the United States to be twice as good. Share of electricity from non emitting sources. Yeah, Canada is leading the US by over 100%. Wow. Okay, number 8. There's way fewer people in prison in Canada. Now, not just total, but per 100,000 people, per capita. Of course, the US is bigger, we have more people, but per 100,000 people, 85 Canadians in prison. Per 100,000 in America, 531. We are 5 or 6 times more people in jail per capita. Why is this? That is crazy. That's weird. The US imprisons far more people per capita, reflecting policy choices around sentencing, bail, parole. Yeah, like in America, we're still putting people in jail for like possessing marijuana and stuff if you're in the wrong state. And Canada's imprisonment rate is among the lowest. Good for you guys. Like this is kind of a tough one cuz it's like I need to know a lot more. Are Canadians just committing less crime per 100,000 people? Or is the Canadian justice system just more lenient? If you commit crimes, certain crimes in Canada, you can be set free or on parole, and those same crimes in America, you go to jail. Maybe that's what it is, a difference in how we interpret the law. So, this one is a little tough to just say who does it better. But on the surface level, it's not good in America that we have 5, 6 times as many people per 100,000 going to jail. That, on the surface, that seems bad. Number 9, Canada has safer roads. This is motor vehicle deaths per 100,000 people. In Canada, only 4.9 deaths per 100,000. In America, 3 times as many, 12.2. Wow. Why are so many more Americans dying on the road? These are really these are really stats and graphs I haven't seen before or thought about before, you know? So Canada has safer roads? Are we just bad drivers? Canada's lower roadway fatality reflects a mix in better road design, better traffic enforcement, and vehicle mix and exposure. I'm not sure what that means, but you guys just have better roads, better traffic enforcement. Maybe you guys are better at driving. Maybe all of the above. But it certainly it's pretty good like to be in a country where you are statistically more likely to live. You guys have a longer life expectancy. You guys have a lower infant mortality. You guys have lower road related deaths. This is pretty like this is the kind of stuff Americans really need to pay attention to. Jeez. And finally, students score higher in Canada. Oh, you guys are smarter. I, I'm disappointed, but I'm not shocked. How much smarter though? This is in math. Canadians scored 497 versus America's 465. This is on the PISA average scores. Is that like, this must be like standardized testing scores? Better in math. Canadians are very, very, very slightly better in reading. And better in science. I would say substantially better in science and math. And only slightly better in reading, but geez. That's like the hard sciences. And so Canada has literally smarter people. That's if that stat doesn't kind of grab you and say maybe you should consider looking at this country for inspiration, and I don't know what does, because these were all really interesting. Actually, all of these graphs, a lot of data, really cool how it was like laid out, very very easy for me as an American to just plainly see 10 huge reasons that Americans should look at Canada and, I don't know, think about incorporating some of these policies or ways of doing things, because we're talking about how smart and safe your country is. Why wouldn't we want to improve that? I think a lot of Americans wouldn't even want to acknowledge Canada does it better, these things. But I'm willing to, because the graphs don't really lie. So I really enjoyed taking a look at these. This was really informative. Kind of sad for America, but I think really good for Americans to look at stuff like this. Don't pretend that it's not real, and learn and get better. So hopefully I managed that a bit. Anyway, if you enjoyed this, feel free to give this video a like or leave a comment with your thoughts on these graphs that pretty much prove 10 reasons Canada does things better than the United States. And if you're interested in more videos like this, me reacting to Canada and learning things about Canadian culture, feel free to subscribe for more. And until then, thanks for watching, and see you next time.